Let's have a great week. So as far as the euro is concerned, we're approaching the targets of 1480, 1485. I've left instructions in the room to not only book profits, but to reverse to long from down there and then risk 100 pips on that. So the limit order, say for example, you're short two going into the number, you could buy three and then you're long one at that level because I am expecting some type of pullback to develop here in probably this week. I know that I'm looking for higher levels before it's over. I'm looking for 102.90, 103, but I think there could be a pretty sharp correction to the downside in the dollar. You're really not seeing any signs of that yet, but we are starting to get pretty oversold on the RSI. And then when you go to the cable right here, you're starting to diverge. Okay, so you could get a new low and see these RSI levels were under 30. If cable makes a new low when Euro's making a new low, it's going to diverge at 30, and you could get a rally back, maybe back to the breakdown again. So I don't know if I want to be short any of these currencies. What I'm laying for on shorts is US dollar yen, which is a throwover that I talked about, and I have some shorts on here. The classic and the conservative approach would be to wait till you get a candle closing under 115, 153.85 to negate the throwover, and then that activates this wedge formation. So if you look at it as a wedge, and I have it anchored here at 47, let me just extend it up a little bit more, and we start breaking down out of this wedge, there's some pretty deep targets, maybe back to the bottom of the wedge that could take us back towards the 47 level. So this is one that I think we could get a high. You guys know I follow lunar cycles. I believe there's a full moon on Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, potential reversals in some of the dollar direction on some of these currencies. So that's what I think is going to happen. And perhaps that's what's going to be behind the gold rally to a level where I'm interested in shorting it. So it's trying to hold. Now, I want to just warn people, and I could be wrong about this, but a lot of analysis that I've been seeing is saying that this is a low in gold and this is a low in silver, and that they start talking about, the higher targets, the 5,000. And I'm not saying we're not going to 5,000 gold, but if you're long here and I'm right that there's another wave down for a correction, you won't be there for that move. Because if we go to 4,100 and then break to 36 or lower, you'll be gone. You won't ride. Unless you're not leveraged. I guess you could do it. So I'd be careful about the hype about some of these targets. I believe in them longer term, but I think the market still has to rinse out some more of this bullishness in the precious metals. So I'm going to be looking for shorting opportunities, like I've been saying for a few weeks, over 4,100 if we get it. I do want to cover what's happening here in S&Ps because they're strong. As far as yields are concerned, they're still heading up after the easing. So, this is starting to look, you're probably hearing about the repo market and the overnight market, that there's really stress. And the Fed is, accommodating people at the window, but there are a lot of banks that need overnight funds. Maybe they have to have bigger loan loss reserves with some of the things that are hanging out there in the shadow banking system. And, the shadow banking system is no longer separate from the commercial banking system because who financed the shadow banking system? The commercial banks. So if there's a problem in the shadow banking system, like with the defaults that we've had, it's going to spread to commercial banks because they've done a lot of lending to these different companies that are in the business of loaning money out to people with poor credit to buy autos, etc. Plus, they own the paper from these things being packaged as quote unquote investments. So they could probably use some interest rate relief. We'll see what happens. If the end's going to turn back down, I would expect that yields do too, but don't fight it if we're back over 420. Then the picture's changing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about energy here. And natural gas still performing. Look, it gapped up here. Huge move from trying to fill the gap. Could there be profit taking? Of course, but this looks good. And remember, I talked about all the higher lows in that gas compared to WTI. It doesn't mean that WTI can't make another move towards 64 or so, but you always want to identify leadership, and that's a different chart than this. So nat gas still looking good. Why don't we talk about what's happening in S&Ps right now? So as you can see on the daily, and I want to just show this, and it is possible that we may have peaked last week. There were a lot of point and figure targets that were achieved. So the key thing to watch this week is this gap. If we fill it, like I said last week, it's an exhaustion gap. And what comes out of your exhaust on your car? Fumes. So the market right now is running on fumes. But I want to talk about what might happen if we do make new highs. So here's the weekly diverging, lower than this last peak. Here's the daily, even with the huge gap opening and everything, diverging. Now the 4 hour had a confirmed high up here at the top. So if by some reason this isn't the top and we get another rally to new highs, say towards 7,000, then you'll have alignment of multiple time frames, important ones. I also look at 1 hour and even 15-minute for divergences, but your important ones are your weekly, daily, 4 hour. Starting to get a little bit of a reversal candle here in the S&Ps. You could take me away in a wagon, guys with white coats, but I still am looking for tops here and looking to add to bearish positions. Let's talk about Bitcoin, which if you've listened, I've been correct. Last week I talked about being short against 116 on the videos and actually put out a trade at 114 something. And here we are. I still think we're going to test this $100 level, the crash low. So that also looks to be in here. And I think that's about all I'm going to cover for today. So we're going to pay attention for taking some profits from 116.40 on euro, reversing, getting long. You could put a piece on in the yen. Your add-on's going to be back inside of this formation, and we're going to be patient. And if gold offers us an opportunity to get short between 41 and 42, we're going to take it, looking for at least this from wherever this, I think it's going to be a B wave, ends up here. So good hunting, everybody. See you in the room. There's a lot of data out this week. It's not from the government, but there's ADP. So there are a lot of things that the market could put their teeth into. I think the ISM is something that's coming up as well. So have a great day trading. Let me know if there's something that I haven't covered that you want me to start covering or update you on for tomorrow. And good hunting today. And remember, the difference between pros and amateurs are pros know how to lose, so they have money left to be right with. So don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios.